Okay, Maureen, we're about to go live.
Yeah.
To be part of this. I think this month we have a very, very important topic. I know many of us joining on this call are mothers who are also businesswomen or working, and it's a very, very important topic. We've got phenomenal speakers who are going to be sharing and imparting their knowledge. But for now, I just want to tell you a little bit more about this platform. Now, it's geared towards fostering inclusive dialogue amongst female leaders to cross-weave their knowledge and drive socio-economic change. And I think in these days and times, it is so important to have these conversations and sometimes have the difficult conversations, ask the difficult questions, because this is a very, very inclusive space and a safe space in which we can share our knowledge and our thoughts and our opinions. I also want to take this chance to remind you that there will be chances for you to ask questions. Please do use your social media to tweet and to talk about this event, but we also want to urge you to keep your questions. We do have a lovely prize for those of you who have done the most interaction. I also want to take this chance to say a big, big thank you to Onyx Radio. Now, Onyx Radio is the company that hosts and produces McDonald's in-store radio, and it is a sponsor of this event. So a big, big thank you to Onyx Radio for making this webinar possible. I said earlier, it is a jam-packed morning with lots of phenomenal speakers. So I'd just like to introduce you firstly to the custodian of the McDonald's Women's Leadership Network, a phenomenal woman who I've had the chance to meet and chat to, and she just shares so much knowledge with such care and such empathy. So Maureen Toninchi, thank you very, very much for joining us. Such an honor to have you with us.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, Joanne. It is an honor to be on this webinar this morning. Thank you to you. You make me feel like a real woman. So thank you.
Maureen, you are in fact the epitome of woman. I have to tell you a little bit more about this phenomenal woman. She's a dynamic, accomplished business leader, currently directing the strategic and operational function of the McDonald's SA business as the director of operations. So when I talk about powerhouse woman, a woman who is juggling so many different things, I'm talking about Maureen. She's got over 28 years of experience in senior management roles, which means that it looks as if she started working when she was 5 years old, because Maureen at age. So you have to share those secrets as well to how you don't age, and you're obviously in a very stressful environment. So thank you for taking time to join us, Maureen.
Thank you very much, Joanne. And I want to take this time to welcome the panelists and thank them in advance for agreeing to be part of this powerful, phenomenal, and important conversation. Indeed, we launched the Women in Conversation platform as part of an initiative of our Women's Leadership Network, South Africa. And what is very important, Joanne, is that this platform is to empower, inspire, motivate our women, but also to share common issues and see how we can help and assist one another. Engagement, conversations are always empowering. So today, we will specifically be focusing on womanhood, being a woman, but also being a woman, having to also be a businesswoman and to also be a woman in the workplace. Indeed, I know that we are going to get tips from our panelists and even from you, Joanne, as to how we can juggle this around and how we can become better mothers, better women, and better business women. So thank you. Indeed, I'd like to say to you guys, enjoy yourselves and empower one another. As Joanna said, ask questions, because this is a conversation of women. But before I end, Joanne, I'd like to take this opportunity to tell you that today it's we're celebrating our health workers because it's International Nurses Day. And therefore, we're celebrating our health workers in style. They're having our McAfee coffees. We've got activators in various hospitals, engaging them and giving them a cup of coffee as a way to say thank you, health workers, especially during this time of this pandemic. Thank you very much, Joanne.
Mama Maureen, thank you very, very much. I actually have goosebumps listening to that. I had the chance to visit Curtis Care Hospital this past week, and you are so right. It is our nurses that are really holding the front, who are keeping everyone calm during these crazy times that we live in. So a big, big salute to you, Mama Maureen, and the team from McDonald's SA. Thank you for sharing the love and for making sure that our nurses all feel appreciated. Of course, International Nurses Day is always celebrated on Florence Nightingale's birthday every year.
Yes.
Big international.
Yes.
So halala to all our nurses. Thank you.
Hawa, halala. So thank you to Noni and to Fezzi. I know you're going to empower us today. And you know, Joanne is phenomenal. I know she's going to empower us. Thank you so much.
Appreciate that so much. Mama Maureen, thank you. And we do also understand she has a very, very, very busy job. So she's going to be jumping in and out. So we appreciate all the time that she is able to spend with us and the fact that she was able to welcome us with such warmth and such happiness. So a big, big thank you. I'd like to take the opportunity. Thank you, Mama Maureen. Mama Maureen mentioned all our phenomenal panelists, and I am very, very delighted to introduce them to you. We have our panelists, Fezi Twala and Noni Mbete. Let me tell you a bit more about Fezi firstly. She's a skills development specialist and life coach. To date, she has had the privilege of working with, reaching, impacting, teaching, and coaching over 3,000 women through conferences, digital workshops, retreats, private and group coaching sessions. Now, I like this. A lot of people have dubbed her the designated big sister. So you are our big sister. Thank you for sharing your big sister knowledge with us. And we look forward to hearing your message. I think a lot of people have said that your message, though it's universal and current, it's very personal. And I think that to me is so important, is that we know that we're in a safe, personal space where we can ask questions that perhaps we would feel shy to ask elsewhere. But here in this wonderful, wonderful Women in Conversation webinar brought to you by McDonald's SA, you do have a safe space in which to ask your designated big sister any questions. We also have our panelist, Noni Mbete. Now, Noni is a finance and insurance business manager. But besides that, she is a TV presenter and a change maker. She is a mom and a wife. She's a lifelong passion for the arts and women empowerment. She's studying towards her final degree or final year in her BBA degree. She's represented South Africa and Africa at the Mrs. Worldwide International Pageant in Singapore. And I just want to say this. Noni has 3 children. She's got a 22-year-old, blended family. She's got a 6-year-old going on 7, and she's got a 2-year-old. Fezi has got 2 children. She's got an 8-year-old and a 1-year-old. I am delighted to also say I've also got kids. I've got 4 kids. So we were joking earlier that we've all tried to make sure that our kids are quiet in this time. I think this is also a safe space that if anybody has a child running in or so, it's okay. We want our children and our girl children in particular to understand that if mommies have to work, it's a good thing. We work because we love doing what we do. And as they say, work is love made visible. So we celebrate the fact that we are business women, but we are also moms. And finding that balance, that's something we're going to be chatting about as the morning progresses. Now, I'd like to start with our house rules. I just want to tell you all that our hashtag is hashtag Women in Conversation. So women with an E, obviously, we are lots of women in conversation, that's our hashtag. And please do feel free to chat to us on social media, Use the hashtag on Instagram or on Twitter, wherever you may be using your social media prowess. But do note that that is where you can use our post, or you can post using Women in Conversation as your hashtag. Again, we do have a questions and answer session. So all of your questions, please do share your questions, and do note that those who engage the most, they will have a chance to be invited to an open door. And this is an experience allowing you a behind the scenes look at how McDonald's actually works and the McDonald's kitchen. So this is quite a big invitation. I think this is something which will give you insight to one of the world's most phenomenal companies. So I encourage you to interact and share your thoughts and your questions, as you might be one of our lucky winners who takes a chance and sees what happens behind the scenes at McDonald's. Our panel, Noni and Fezi, are you ready to engage? Fantastic. I'm so happy. I'm delighted. So we've had a chance to chat, and I said to you that I'm going to ask some questions. Some are difficult questions, some are questions that might make some people a little bit uncomfortable, some are questions that are just going to give us all a lot of insight. Our first question, and Fezi, I'd like to pose this question to you. Is there a view that mothers are less capable or less dedicated to their work?
Thank you so much, Joanne, for that question. I just want to say hi to everyone. Thank you so much for joining in and for having this conversation with us, because it's just a group of mothers and women talking about this very, very important topic or conversation. So thank you. And thank you to McDonald's SA for this platform. This is absolutely amazing. We need more of this. And so I'm very, very excited about today. So the question of the view of women or mothers being less dedicated or less committed to their work is there is a view, there is a general belief that you can either be a great mother or you can have a great career, but you cannot have both. And there is this anonymous quote that I love. It says that women are expected to work like they don't have children and raise children like they don't work, which is quite interesting. So yes, the view exists. What it is really is that mothers, there's a belief that mothers are not or cannot be as committed as their other counterparts, whether single women or men in the workplace. Now, mothers are navigating work deadlines, sick days, they are juggling client presentations and preparing for show and tells. Mothers are doing a lot. They have a lot on their plate, but we have to understand that they are often the employees with the strongest why. They are the ones who have the motivation as mothers, where it's often the very fact that they are in a work environment, they are there for a greater why. For example, they might want to grow their career because they want to afford a better education for their children. So their motivation, a mother's motivation, seems to be stronger and more deeper than just making some money. So it's very important to understand that mothers can be your greatest asset. If you have a mother in your workspace, that person you'll find, because of their motivation, will be even more committed, more dedicated to their work and even their growth. But because there is this belief that is negative towards mothers, this belief that says mothers are not committed, are not dedicated, we need to now look at how we can change the belief. Because as mothers, we understand that this is not necessarily true. So to change a belief, you need to gather enough evidence against the belief. And you have to continue to do this until it sticks. So my advice to mothers who want to grow in their careers, who want their teammates, their managers, their employers to really understand their value in the workplace, to do this. One, you have to self-advocate, right? And this is how you do it. You begin by documenting all your achievements. when you have met a tight deadline that was almost impossible, but you did it, even with your 2-year-old or your 1-year-old or your 13-year-old pulling on your dress or your skirt, but you were able to do that and you delivered. Document it. If you were part of a team that delivered great work, document it. That's very, very important for you to be able to have, because what we're doing is collecting evidence against this notion or against this belief in order to bring it down. So write it down and gather it as evidence. Now, the second thing that I would advise is ask your clients or your customers, even your teammates, to write testimonials about the work that you've done. This is what will help you even personally, because you'll start to see yourself as a valuable person in this working environment, or as a value add in the work environment. So it's very important to gather that evidence in the form of testimonials. Clients, customers, your leaders, your teammates. Get them to write just a short testimonial about you. The third thing that I would just want to highlight that you can do to gather evidence against this view that you are not dedicated, that you are not committed to your work, is you need to take credit for the work that you've done. Even when it's in a team, because mothers or women, a lot of the times, we are so sisterly, or, all things, togetherness, and sometimes we shrink when we should shine. So every time you achieve something, take credit for it. Let people know that you are part of that team. Let people know that you delivered that, because that is you gathering enough evidence to bring down this belief that women are less dedicated. Because when people see you as a mother and think you are less dedicated, they will not see your true value. So it's very important. My 3 tips: advocate for yourself, gather evidence, your achievements, the deadlines that you have met, ask for testimonials from people that you've served or you have served with, and then lastly, take credit for your work. What this does is really solidify the evidence of the notion that actually you do bring value. Yes, you have a lot going, but you bring your A game all the time. You push yourself, you are able to deliver even with your other responsibilities as a mother. So I hope that helps you. Joanne?
I have to tell you this. I'm listening to everything. I've got my pen out. I'm taking notes as fast as I can. True, the points that you are mentioning, I think as moms we stand back and we don't always take credit, and it doesn't have to be in a boastful or an arrogant way, but just when you've done good work, take credit for it and just say, I've done this. So you are, wow, I'm having these like an Oprah session here where I'm going, yes. Amen. Big thank you for those points.
So just on that taking credit part, you mentioned something very important. You don't want to be boastful, but you want to affirm and assert yourself in a victory situation. You don't want to shrink. You want to say, yes, I do bring value. Yes, I am talented. And that really makes people sit up and take notice of what you bring in the working space. So ladies, don't be shy. It's not being boastful. It's not ego. It's ensuring that people understand your value.
Absolutely. Noni, I want to find out, do you want anything? Do you want to add on anything? Because I've got a question for you now. And Fezi, I think you've given us a lot to digest. I'm going to sit and digest. I think that's the great thing. This webinar goes on for an hour, but I'm hoping that the thoughts that you've taken in, I hope everybody's taking notes, that this will give you enough food for thought that you can process and just think about how it can positively impact your life. Noni, I want to ask you.
I like what Fezi's her steps here, Joanne. I think particularly for me, what sticks out the most is taking credit when it's due to yourself, and not shrinking yourself when you know you should be standing out and being proud of what you've accomplished, whether it was a deadline or a target or even a bigger achievement in the workspace. I think as mothers that are occupied with raising children and still developing our careers, we can easily take a backseat. We can easily find that I should have done better. I could have done, I could have reached to a certain level. But it's very important for our own personal development and growth to acknowledge when we've done something good. So I like that, Fezi. I think it's a very important. I've noted that myself.
You take it.
So
Noni and Fezi, I wanted to say this as well. I even think about it even as a wife, because sometimes you'll have a busy day and you're so busy with what you're doing is that you don't actually realize how much you're accomplishing. So when my husband comes home from work, sometimes he's like, "What did you do today?" And I'm like, in my mind, I didn't really do much. But if I actually think about it, it also is like a gratitude journal to me. Thank you, Lord, that I had the energy to look after the kids, get this done, blah, 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 blah. So I do think it's important for yourselves as well to just take note of what you have done and what you have accomplished, to take credit and to also give credit where it's due. I'm going to say this as well. For me, the big thing is, as working moms, many of us also have our nannies, our co-moms in the homes. And without them, we have to give credit where it's due. Without them, it would be very hard to be a powerhouse woman in business if we didn't have this village to raise a child. Nori, I want to go on to your question here. What are the gaps and opportunities for mothers in the workplace, particularly single mothers? Because I think this is an important one. In South Africa, we have one of the highest incidences of single mothers in the world. So this is a very, very big question. It's not an exception to be a single mom, sadly. It's the norm in South Africa. So what are the gaps and opportunities for mothers in the workplace, and particularly single mothers?
Look, Joanne, I think we can certainly all come in there, because I think we all have different aspirations, goals, and things we want to achieve as women and as mothers. But it is a sad reality that we face in our society and in business, whether it's, you're an entrepreneur, or if you are in corporate, or you are just running your own business. I think it's a reality we face, that as mothers, we don't have a lot of opportunities that are presented to us. We need to break down barriers to get certain things that we want. And I think that's something that we are continuously doing. We tirelessly continue doing it. Sometimes we do it with support, and sometimes we find that you need to be resilient in wanting to get those opportunities. So we fail, we get up, we go on. We fail, we get up, we go on. It's almost second nature to us. It's something that, I don't know, we just, as women and moms, we are just very special type of people. We're able to be in that moment and be resilient and pick up what we need to be able to forge forward and create opportunities for ourselves in terms of business and career development. So I do feel if you are in the private space, it's a different story altogether. If you are in private sector, if you are, in corporate and bigger organizations, you are governed by policies, you are governed by how business is going to run. You are not necessarily governed by yourself and how you prefer to run your business. So we are limited there, if I'm being entirely honest. It's obviously nice to have things like maternity leave, and knowing that it could be extended to, or it has been extended, I stand to be corrected, to 6 months. And that in terms of work and business, that part of things is taken care of. But the reality is, when you get back to work, it's another story, because you don't leave a 4-month-old or a 6-month-old at home and, okay, my job is done, I'm now getting back to being me. No. That's when that's when the real work starts. That's when the balance comes in. And the question of, are there opportunities for single mothers in that case? I'm 1 foot in, I'm 1 foot out. I really strongly want to say the opportunities are not necessarily there. I think it's time that we try to change the narrative here. I think it's time we try to create those opportunities and make it more of, a normal thing to have a single mother that's working and building a career and wanting to succeed in being what they want to be, and having to rush off, to pick up my kids, or rush off to take my child to the doctor. It's part of who we are. And I think it is kind of still shunned upon in business, to be in a meeting and you suddenly just have to get up and go be a mom. And that's a very unfortunate part of our society. That's a very sad part of where we are. So I do want to say the opportunities are not really there, but I do want to say there are businesses and organizations that are starting to open up to those opportunities, starting to embrace having women of power, women of influence, brace and, you know, be in their companies and represent their brands, but also give them equal opportunity and space to become best and good moms in their own way. So I don't know, I think you ladies can come in here as well if you feel that.
I'm having one of those sessions where I'm just yes. It's so true. I think so as a working mom, I've stopped apologizing for being a mom. Because I think as a mom, you're always saying, "Oh, sorry, I've got to go do this." So, and for example, if a father, I hope that happens more often. But if a father says, "Sorry, I can't be there because my child has this and this," and I've actually marked that off in my diary, so everybody knew it's an appointment that I have with my child, which I honor as much as I have an appointment with a business colleague. You honor you honor what you appointed. For me, that is such a big thing. I even felt, you know, in some of my business roles, I'd be in a board meeting and the board meeting would be scheduled from say 2 till 5, because 5 o'clock I would go home. But then the boys are still having drinks and you realize that business actually is happening after the meeting, the networking.
Right.
And I would be like, hold on, you can have this conversation because your wife is at home. So let's be cognizant of the fact that it's not taken for granted that, oh, no, my wife will take care of that. Sometimes as women, we actually have to say the awkward things like, guys, let's be honest, this conversation is going on now because your wife is taking care of the child. So we have to be a bit more cognizant of roles. But as we also know, it's harder as a single mom. So, Faizi, do you want to come in with any comments there?
Yeah, just quickly, I want to speak directly to single mothers. Ladies, firstly, I agree with you guys. But I just want to quickly speak to single mothers. There's a book that I love, that I read and I loved. It's called Nice Girls Don't Get the Corner Office. It's by Louis P. Frankel. I don't know if you've heard about it. It's amazing.
I'm writing I'm going to add my reading list.
Please get it. Nice Girls Don't Get the Corner Office. Very, very nice read. Very empowering. So what I want for single mothers to think about is that in the workplace, in business, there is this notion of an opportunity gap. This describes a situation where too many women in the corporate environment remain at entry-level jobs or positions as opposed to their male counterparts, and even goes as far as women don't advance really as much in leadership roles. So how do we then deal with this? I want to say to single mothers, where there's a gap, there's an opportunity. That's how I look at it, and I hope you can adopt this perspective. Yes, there are issues. Yes, it seems like there are blocks, but because there's a gap, because there is such a thing called an opportunity gap, that means someone needs to fill that gap. And I'm challenging single mothers to be those women who are not nice anymore in business. I'm not talking about being mean or being abrasive or just being rude to get ahead, but this is how you do this. I've just got a few things that I think will help you in really adopting this approach of filling in the gap and not being apologetic about it, and not allowing people to push you to the back of the line whenever an opportunity arises. So the first thing, what we can do to help single mothers and mothers in general to advance in their careers, number one is, don't be afraid to ask for a raise or promotion. Don't. You have value, you bring worth, you are talented. Don't be afraid. Step up and ask for what you feel you are worth. Second thing is, promote your abilities and accomplishments. I've shared that earlier. Take credit. Promote your abilities and accomplishment wherever possible. Make sure people know that you can be. Make sure people know what you can actually do. A lot of the times, you are gold. You've got all this talent, and people just don't know that you can do this. So make sure that with every opportunity that you get, people know that you can do great things. And then lastly, consider getting support Joanne mentioned our nannies. That's great support. Our family support's very important. But you can even take it a step further. Hire a career coach, or a mentor. Get a mentor, somebody who will help you and guide you, giving you advice, somebody who's walked the path or who knows the journey. For example, Mom Maureen is a great example of a mentor. So get someone like that in your journey for your support, because really nice girls don't get this kind of offers. You have to take action, take these steps, and adopt this perspective that where there is a gap, there is an opportunity.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I like that. One of my favorite quotes is from business philosopher Jim Rohn, and he says, "Opportunity dances with those already on the dance floor." There are always opportunities
Yeah.
if we have our dancing shoes on. So there's always an opportunity to empower other women, and it's so true. Mama Maureen, I must say, as somebody who mentors people, as somebody who is part of the women's leadership network, I think that's so important that we create these spaces to, what do they say, when you reach the top of the lift, send the lift back down. Empower those young women who are going through the same process. Leave the door open. Absolutely, Noni.
Indeed, yeah. Joanne, Noni, Fezzi, and everyone on this webcast, what I do want to say is, you, as a woman, you're more than a woman. You're a nurturer. You're a bearer. Always try to create a certain spirit around you. When people are in your space, they must know that they can get empowered even without you saying anything. Now, this is what I'd like to add on to what Fezzi and what Noni has said. At McDonald's South Africa and in McDonald's Global, anyway, we work shifts. And because the reality of the matter is that not everyone is in executive or very senior positions, but other people, they are making the burgers that we have. They're making the coffee that we're drinking this morning. The reality of the matter is that what does the organization, what kind of space, like Noni has said, what kind of space does the organization create for the people to be able to be mothers, to be businesswomen, etc., etc. And therefore, at McDonald's South Africa, we work shifts, and empathetic leadership is needed. That means our restaurant managers, when they do their shift schedule, how do they collaborate with the teams to make sure that all those women, even the men that are working in our restaurants, will have a chance to be able to attend to their children and to the necessary chores or necessary responsibilities that they have at home. So it is how, and that is why people like us, Maureen, that are in senior executive positions and senior positions, even middle management positions, always remember, when you lead people, you lead them, but you make them better people for their families, for the communities, and for their villages.
Absolutely.
Wow.
You are speaking to my soul, Mama Maureen. Thank you very, very much. I like a holistic approach to leadership as well. It's not just about making the person better at work, but that person that you empower in the right way and that you encourage to do their work in their workplace in the right way. They go back home and they can be a better parent because they come with a better spirit. Their spirit is not broken. Their spirit is built up. And so we start this positive chain reaction. I want to ask our panelists our next question. How can one maintain the perfect balance between work and motherhood? This is a difficult question because I think it's this elusive balance that we're all striving towards, but it's a hard one. It's like a unicorn, striving towards it, but hard to find. Who wants to start? Noni?
Yes, Joanne. I think, the first and most important step here is, when you mention the balance and how you strike the balance, is being a hardworking mother, because that's what it is. You're hardworking, but you're a mother. It's all part of who you are. So it's a serious commitment that one makes. You know, it's something that is extremely important, and you have to honor it. So once you've decided that I'm going to be a mother that is dedicated to being a mother, to that role, and working and providing for my family and my children, that is something you need to honor and be present in both those roles. They need you fully. So I think I always say this, keeping your cup full. But I mean, I like it a lot because I think it's always relevant to pour out in different parts of who you are. Your cup has to be full. I cannot reiterate that any further. You cannot run on empty. You cannot operate on half. So to keep your cup full, you know, you need to do whatever you feel is necessary to be that. And I think that will automatically give you, you know, the ability to be able to be a hardworking mother and be a mother fully and be committed to your craft and your career. So filling your cup is what I always refer to as a necessity when striking the balance between these roles. And, you know, this is before counting on any other form of support that you may have. And that being a supportive spouse, a supportive partner, or a parent, or even a good nanny. Because I know that's every mother's dream, to have a dream nanny. So this is before you count on that. I like to call it self-governance, you know, self-governance, because it requires you and only you, and being able to be true to your trajectory and whatever it is you want to achieve in that journey. So I think it definitely requires that first. And the first mistake we make as mothers and women is that we always think it's perfect, you know, it's a bed of roses, it can be done, it's effortless. And I think in the days of social media,
Noni, Noni, can I just interject there? You are so right. Social media has changed one's perception of how motherhood looks, because and I'll be honest, I'm guilty as well. I look at these moms with their perfect strollers, they don't have any baby vomit, or they've got these beautiful, you're not even sure how they're changing nappies because they're looking so on fleek. And
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's because we forget. We look at social media and we look at life on the internet and we think it's so perfect, and we easily compare ourselves to the mothers you're mentioning, and we forget that everything on the internet is basically curated content. Hello. You know, that's what it is. It's curated content, and it's unfortunate that we don't often share the lows as we do the highs. We don't often share the hows as we do getting there and getting it done. So I think that's another thing, you know, our societal norms portray that, and it's a huge challenge for moms wanting to strike the balance. So it's a reality, and it's true that in the beginning of being a mom and being a career-driven woman, you fumble. We all do. We fumble, but we forge forward until we're able to find a balance. And I think that's the most important thing. You find the balance and you go with it. And I think the aim is always to just raise children that are going to be resilient members of our society. That is one thing we always need to remember. And that's how I personally strike the balance. So as long as we keep those cups full and we know we're able to run and operate on what I would like to call mental fitness, and making sure that mentally you are in the journey, you are in, you know, being a committed mom and being a committed career woman, keeping yourself full. So I definitely want to say that as well. It's important to find how you keep your cup full. You know, we've got different interests and likes. You know, some people go into fitness, some people go on, you know, a girls' trip with friends and trying to reignite that fire that could have been, you know, a bit dampened down by being a mom, you know. So I think it's important to do that. For me, I know I find a lot of joy and revival in fitness, health and fitness, and my spiritual journey, having a revived spiritual journey with you know, with my God. I feel that instantly fills my cup. So it's important to also be able to know what needs to be done to do that. And the other important part, Joanne and Fezi, as well as Mama Maureen, is spending your time wisely. We tend to just want things done, and we don't know the importance of spending your time wisely. And for me, I know the minute I knock off and I leave work at work. And I think that's extremely important. I get home and I focus on my...
Noni, do you manage to put your cell phone away?
It's important. I'm not always, no,
I can see
I'll be
Mama's
honest.
just laughing there.
I'll be honest, but I mean, it's important. Sometimes my husband and I actually do it a lot. We remind each other. We're like, okay, you know, you've been on social media for too long, or okay, let's put our phones away. But it's important to be aware of it. I think that's the important part, to know and make a commitment to say, I'm putting my phone away. Work is at work. Phone is part of our work. So you need to be in that moment and get off yourself from spending time with your children. And that's how you can also strike the balance. So, I mean, if I came in here, ladies, with a tough experience I had personally with striking the balance. I remember when I just had my last born, my son. I was working for a different company at the time, and I just come back from maternity leave. And as you know, having a breast engorgement, I'm having to express my milk. It hit me in such a painful way when I found myself sitting on a toilet seat expressing my breast milk.
Workplace, yeah.
Listen, I just looked around and I was like thinking to myself, there's still so much we need to do as a society. There's still so much we need to do as businesses and organizations to embrace and make a more welcoming work environment for moms, whether it's single moms or moms that do have a co-parent that's there. You know, I mean, I feel it's something that we have neglected as a society. And in that moment, I sat on that toilet seat expressing my breast milk, because for the life of me, any woman will know that's, you know, had to go through the process of breastfeeding. Sitting through a whole day of engorged breasts is a pain I cannot even begin to describe.
I know that so well. Noni, thank you for that. I think that is so true. And especially as us being women who are influential in the workplace, I think it's important that we share these stories and that we say we understand and we're doing our best to make an impact. Which brings me to the last question, which I'm going to pose to you as the panel. And then we're going to ask, we've got some lovely questions coming in here. Please do remember to use the hashtag Women in Conversation, women with an E, Women in Conversation. But our final question to all our panelists, should companies, and this is a difficult one, should companies consider adapting their policies to the changing lifestyles of working mothers? Big question. Who wants to go first?
Joanne, let me go. I'll go. I just wanted to say part of what Noni was talking about right now, that we have to go to bathrooms to express. That's one thing that just popped from what you said. I thought that's really something that companies can look at to support women. But what I want to for us to look at quickly is that the first thing that comes to mind when you're thinking about what companies can do is the pay gap. There is a gender pay gap. There's definitely a gender pay gap. And the truth is, women are often paid less than their male counterparts with the same qualification, with the same experience. That is a fact. It often is like that. And if that was not enough, the cost of living for women is so much higher. Like if you go to the supermarket to buy razors, even the cheapest ones, like you know those pink ones in a pack. If you pick up the female one, the pink one, and you go to the male section, you look at the same type of razor for men, you'll find that the male one is cheaper than the female one. That even the entry-level razor. So the cost of living for women is much more higher than men. And on top of that, we have more and more female-led households in South Africa. So business can really look at addressing this gender pay gap as soon as possible, because it is tough for women. And even COVID-19 and the lockdown really has highlighted the plight of women, the plight of working women even, because the cost of living is so high, but we are not paid as women often like our counterparts, our male counterparts. The business can start there. The second thing is, Ma'am Maureen mentioned this in a very powerful way, support. We can take for granted the psychological power of support to impact productivity. It's very important. And I'm sure you've heard of this phrase, people leave managers, not companies. You've heard that before. But what it says to me is that then it means that people are supported by managers, not companies, because often you'll find companies have good policies in place. But if the manager is not able to support the people that they work with in a meaningful way, those policies do not translate. So support from leaders, from managers, leading with empathy, as Mama Maureen has so beautifully shared. It moved me what she said. And so really it seems like something that is almost intangible because it's not in a piece of policy, it's not written down in black and white. But for policies to make sense, you need leaders who are supportive, who are empathetic. And I think that's very, very important. Thank you, Joy.
Daisy, thank you very, very much. Mama Maureen, Noni, is there anything you'd like to add on?
No, look, Joanne, I think, Fezi is spot on there. I mean, I think it's something we still need to talk about. It's something we still need to change here. You see, our reproductive systems are who we are. It's part of who we are. It's like breathing. It's not something we can just get away.
And so, Noni, I also want to say, I often say to people when they say, yeah, but it's different because you've got kids. What are you actually, how are you contributing in a meaningful? And then I go, hold on, I'm busy raising your future customers.
Thank you.
For participation of business, we need to have good mothers in place. Otherwise, our economy falls flat.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. So societal barriers and constraints should never be a reason any mother or any woman is not able to be herself fully and reach for positions of influence as our male counterparts, as Fezi was saying. So I definitely think that's something we still need to work hard on as a society. But in a positive light, I think we are definitely heading the right direction. So definitely.
Fantastic. I would like to go now to our questions from all of our viewers. And again, thank you to everyone for joining us. We really are so pleased that you are part of this Women in Conversation webinar brought to you by McDonald's South Africa. We've had a couple of questions. Some of them have actually already been answered. Cleo asked, please share the author's name again. We've shared that in the chat, Cleo. I hope you've seen that. That was the author of Nice Girls Don't Get the Corner Office. Sibongile asks, my question, how do I balance between my business and being a mom? I think we might have answered some of that, but I think, Sibongile, if I'm correct, you're asking when you're running your own business, as opposed to being an employee, how do you create that balance? Would anybody like to answer that?
Look, I think what's important there, Joanne, is firstly, obviously Sibongile wants to run a successful business. So the self-governance is there. That part is done. That part is ticked. And then now it's looking at your support structure, your support system, and actually using those people that avail themselves to help you. So Mama Maureen mentioned good nannies. So if you've got a parent that's willing to do that, or if you've got a partner or a spouse that's willing to assist, use that. Sometimes as women, we also take on so much on our shoulders that we think, oh no, my partner can't do that, I have to do that. Oh, my spouse can't do that, I have to do that. So I think being able to identify the people that are there that are readily available for you to use, go for it.
Absolutely. I want to say this. I'm going to come to you now, Fezi, but I think it is so important. I really think, and I actually mentioned this just before Mother's Day, we celebrate Mother's Day and we should celebrate our co-mothers or our nannies on those days as well. But I really think there's room for a National Nanny Day because the economy of this country... Come on, Maureen, I see you clapping hands. So I think we might have to have a little offline conversation. But I think this economy, with us pushing strong women, we need to be celebrating our wing women who are looking after our children with so much love, sometimes leaving their own children to help us raise our children so that we can raise the economy. So, Mama Maureen, I see you smiling. Noni, Fezi, I see you, but I do think it's a conversation worth having. We celebrate Mother's Day, but we do need a National Nannies Day because these women do help us drive our economy. We've got another question here, and Fezi, you wanted to still add on to the question about the Sibongile's one about the business and being a mom, how to strike that business between business owner and being a mom.
Yeah, I'd say that it's the same as if you have any other job, but it's even more in terms of responsibility that then sits on your shoulders as a businesswoman. But what I want to encourage women out there, Sibongile and all other businesswomen, is that you have to understand that it's not about the quantity of time you spend with your family that's important. It's the quality of time. So don't beat yourself up when you are not spending 6 hours with your kids. Even an hour of dedicated, fully present time to your children is much more valuable than just sitting on the couch for 3 hours watching TV. So look at it that way. You have to put in more time for your business to grow, and your children will thank you for that, because you are showing them leadership. You are teaching them that women can do it. You are teaching them life lessons that you cannot teach just by saying it. They are watching you do this thing that is deemed difficult, and you are making it. So that is also a lesson and a teaching in itself. But the time that you set aside for your children, it's not about the quantity. So let's put mom guilt aside and really be intentional and present in the time that we have with our children. It's important to know our families, our children don't want to hold us back from achieving greatness. What they want is not to feel left behind. They want you to keep winning, but they just don't want to feel left behind. So set aside that time. It doesn't matter if it's an hour, if it's 45 minutes, but when you're present and you're intentional, it makes the world of a difference.
I love that.
Yeah.
It is so true. One of my other favorite quotes is, time is more valuable than money. You can always get more money, but you can never get more time. And time, to me, when I'm taking time, when I'm with my kids, look, I don't always win. Don't get me wrong. I am not going to win a Mother of the Year award. But you're sitting on your phone and you're thinking about that work stuff, and you're like, and then the next thing you're like in this rabbit hole of looking at your phone, and your child's sitting next to you going, so it is so important to be present, and to be present in the moment. The present, that to me is such a big take home. Ntabi Singh Salemane asks, I'd be keen on hearing the speakers talk about women's rights in the workplace when they are pregnant. So interesting question. We have that question from Ntabi Singh Salemane asking, please speak a bit more about women's rights in the workplace when they are pregnant. Who would like to answer that one? Do you think, I think perhaps what she's asking is, do you think that enough is being done in terms of women's rights in the workplace when they are pregnant?
So I think we've touched on that, Joanne, quite a bit, but not, directly. But I would say women's rights are rights across the board. But what business can do, or organizations can do, is to be more thoughtful and more intentional for issues such what Noni mentioned about engorged breast and having to pump. So even when you're pregnant, those are some of the considerations that businesses can put in place, creating spaces where moms can feel safe to deal with what they are going through physiologically, because a lot happens into your body while you're pregnant. So businesses can look at getting help, even getting consultants to look at even the actual physical environment. Is it conducive for pregnant moms to walk 3 flights of stairs? So those are some of the issues. Policies on maternity leave already exist. Obviously, they can be made better. But what I'd advise moms on Tabby saying is go read those policies for your company that you're in. Make sure you are well versed. You know exactly what the business is offering you, so you can navigate that better. But the truth is, a lot more can still be done.
Absolutely, absolutely. And also, I think, I don't know how, if any of you have had any experience, during my pregnancies, I experienced hyperemesis gravidarum, which means constant morning sickness. So for 24 hours, I am nauseous. And I think that's a condition that affects 2 to 5% of pregnant women. But it's also that you create an environment where women feel comfortable to share what they're going through. So it also avoids any uncomfortable misunderstandings. I think empathy in leadership is so important, and in particular when it comes to women and safe pregnancy environments, or environments that are conducive to having safe comfortable pregnancies. There was an interesting question as well, and I think this is going to be our final question. We've had so many great questions and comments, and again, thank you to you, all of our viewers, for joining us and for sharing and for sharing your thoughts and your questions. We've got a question here. Most women are introverted, and I get the notion, and I'm reading verbatim, that nice girls don't get the corner office. Opportunities come to those on the dance floor, but how can introverts or nice girls who are not used to publishing their accomplishments, albeit getting the job done, get noticed? So how do introverts thrive in the workplace if they're not as comfortable saying, I did this? Daisy, Noni, who would like to go? Mama Maureen?
Mama Maureen, maybe. But let me just say this. The labels that we put on ourselves, such as introverts, extroverts, is really just that, labels, right? We can grow out of those labels at a certain point in our lives. Look, I'm an extroverted introvert. If I were to choose, I would choose to be by myself. But when I'm put in a situation where I'm with other people, I thrive. You know, I'm great at that. But is it what I would choose? So that's neither here nor there, the fact that you're an introvert or an extrovert. The important thing is you bring value. And no one will know that you bring value if you do not say you bring value. We're not talking about being boastful. We're not talking about being, you know, a diva in the workplace. We are talking about ensuring that the people that can benefit from what you bring know that you can bring greatness. That's basically what it is. I don't know if the other ladies have something to say.
I think
definitely. I agree.
You agree?
Should I go? Yes, I definitely agree there. I think we tend to put ourselves back just by what we think of ourselves. It's very easy to think, no, you know, it's like playing small yet again. You know, no, I'm not worthy to be on that particular dance floor. I'm not worthy to be sitting on that table with such, you know, influential people, or such people that have got, you know, such high positions in the business. And I think it's that very thinking that hinders us in our growth as women and as a people. So I think it's extremely important to allow yourself to be more open-minded in that sense, to say, what am I good at? You know, what do I bring to the table? And to own it, because whatever you bring to the table may be exactly what the business needs. So don't ever hold back and feel, oh no, I'm an introvert and I'm not worthy to be seated there. That seat is for you, and you take it up.
That seat is for you. I like that. Thank you very, very, very much. Ladies, what a fruitful conversation. And look, in terms of timing, we've done very, very well. I just want to say a big, big thank you again, Mama Maureen. Thank you for hosting this. Thank you for creating this beautiful space and this beautiful environment where as women, where as mothers, we can all come in and share our thoughts. And I really applaud you. So Mama Maureen, thank you very much. Fezi,
Thank you, Joanne. Phenomenal woman.
Morning.
I'm
happy company here. You've given me a spring in my step for the rest of the day. Our 10 winners, who will also have a spring in their step because I'm going to announce their names. They are the open door winners, and they are Denisha Pillay, Renelle Ntabiseng Simelani, Refilwe Simelane, Colleen Davids, Renelle Ferreira, Mbali. She's like Madonna, she's just got one name. Don't worry, we will make sure that we've got your details and we'll be in contact with you. Sibongile, Cleo, and Pamela Madonsela. Those are our 10 winners of our open door competition. Thank you for all of your interaction. Thank you for all of your questions. All of you who attended from far and wide, we really appreciate you taking your time to be part of this conversation. To Onyx, our sponsor, a big thank you to Onyx as well for making sure that this morning happened and that it was such a success. From my side, thank you very, very much. I would say good night and God bless, but it's not quite good night. So good afternoon and God bless. Big, big thank you again to McDonald's SA for also celebrating women, and for today celebrating our nurses as we celebrate International Nurses Day. So you spoke about the cup being full. Thank you for filling it with McCafe. So we love the coffee. Keep the coffee going. Thank you very, very much, Mama Maureen and team.
Thank you. And have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.
A wonderful day. Are we off? Thank you very much, everyone.
Have a good day.
Thank you very, very